is my audience, my guardian angel, Miss Piggy Deedles. I love you, Piggy. Thank you all for joining me. If you like my videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Alright, taking back off, Canto 1 out of Book 2, the Book of the Traveler of the Worlds. Canto 1 is titled The World Stair. We're at about line 28. The eternal stillness saw in unmoved joy his universal power at work display, in plots of pain and dramas of delight. The wonder and beauty of her will to be all, even pain was the soul's pleasure here. Here all experience was a single plan, the thousandfold expression of the one. All came at once into his single view. Nothing escaped his vast intuitive sight. Nothing drew near he could not feel his kin. He was one spirit with that immensity. Images in a supernal consciousness embodying the unborn who never dies. The structured visions of the cosmic self, alive with the touch of being's eternity, looked at him like form-bound spiritual thoughts, figuring the movements of the ineffable aspects of being dawned world outline, forms that open moving doors on things divine, became familiar to his hourly sight. The symbols of the spirit's reality, the living bodies of the bodiless, grew near to him, his daily associates. The exhaustless seeings of the unsleeping mind, letterings of his contact with the invisible, surrounded him with countless pointing signs, the voice of a thousand realms of life. Mission to him her mighty messages, the heaven hints that invade our earthly lives, the dire imaginations dreamed by hell, which, if enacted and experienced here, our dulled capacity soon would cease to feel, or our mortal frailty could not long endure, were set in their sublime proportions there. There lived out in their self-born atmosphere. They resumed their topless pitch and native power, their fortifying stress upon the soul, bit deep into the ground of consciousness, the passion and purity of their extremes, the absoluteness of their single cry, and the sovereign sweetness or violent poetry of their beautiful or terrible delight. All thought can know our widest sights perceived, and all thought and sight can never know. All things occult and rare, remote and strange, were near to the heart's contact, felt by spirit sense, asking for eternity at his nature's gates. They crowded the widened spaces of his mind, his self-discovery flaming witness, offering their marvel and their multitude. These now became new portions of himself, the figures of his spirit's greater life, the moving scenery of his large time walk, or the embroidered tissue of his sense. These took the place of intimate human things and moved as close companions of his thoughts, or were his soul's natural environment. Tireless the heart's adventure of delight, endless the kingdoms of the spirit's bliss, unnumbered tones struck from one harmony's strings, each to its wide-winged universal poise, its fathomless feeling of the all-in-one, brought notes from some perfection yet unseen, and its single retreat into true secrecies, its happy sidelight on the infinite. All was found there the unique had dreamed and made, tinging with ceaseless rapture and surprise and an opulent beauty of passion, difference, the reoccurring beat that moments God and time. Only was missing the soul timeless word that carries eternity into its lonely sound. The idea, self-luminous keys to all ideas, the integer of the spirit's perfect sum that equals the unequal all to the equal one. The single sign interpreting every sign, the absolute index to the absolute. There walled apart by its own innerness, in a mystic barrage of dynamic light, he was a lone, immense, high-curved world pile, erect like a mountain chariot of the gods, motionless under an inscrutable sky as if from matter's plinth and viewless base. As the top as viewless as a carved sea of whirls, climbing with foam-manned waves to the supreme, ascended towards breadths immeasurable. It hoped to soar into the ineffable's reign. 100 levels raised it to the unknown, so it towered up to heights intangible, and disappeared into the hushed conscious vast as climbs a storied temple tower to heaven, building by the aspiring soul of man to live near to his dream of the invisible. Infinity calls to it as its dreams and climbs. Its spire touches the apex of the world, mounting into great voiceless stillness. It marries the earth to screened eternities amid the many systems of the one, made by an interpreting creative joy. Alone it points us to our journey back out of our long self-loss in nature's deeps. Planted on earth, it holds in all realms. It is a brief compendium of the vast. This was a single stair to being's goal, a summary of the stages of the spirit, its copy of the cosmic hierarchies refashioned in our secret air of self, a subtle pattern of the universe. It is within, below, without, above, acting upon this visible nature's scheme. It awakens our earth matter's heavy doze to think and feel and to react to joy. It models in us our diviner parts, lifts mortal mind into a greater air, makes yearn this life of flesh to intangible aims, links the body's death with immortality's call. Out of the swoon of the inconscience, it labors towards a superconscient light. If earth were all and this were not in her, thought could not be nor life's delight response. Only material forms could then be her guest, driven by an inanimate world force, earth by this golden superfluidity, born thinking man and more than man shall bear. This higher scheme of being is our cause, and holds the key to our ascending fate. It calls out of our dense mortality, the conscious spirit nursed in matter's house, the living symbol of these conscious planes, its influences of the Godheads and of the unseen. Its unthought logic of reality's acts arise from the unspoken truth in things, have fixed our inner life's slow-scale degrees. Its steps are paces of the soul's return from the deep adventure of material birth, a ladder of delivering ascent and rungs that nature climbs to deity. Once in the vigil of a deathless gaze, these grades had marked her giant downward plunge. The wide and prone leap of a Godhead's fall, our life is a holocaust of the supreme. The great world mother, by her sacrifice, has made her soul the body of our state. Accepting sorrow and unconsciousness, divinity's lapse from its own splendors wove. The many-patterned ground of all we are, an idol of self is our mortality. Our earth is a fragment and a residue. Her power is picked with the stuff of greater worlds. If you like this story, please hit the thumbs up if you haven't already, and the subscribe button. Thank you very much. We continue on. And steeped in their color lusters, dimmed by her drowse, and the atavism of higher births is hers. Her sleep is stirred by their buried memories, recalling the lost spheres from which they fell. Unsatisfied forces in her bosom move. They are partners for her greater growing fate and her return to immortality. They consent to share her doom of birth and death. They kindle partial gleams of the all and drive her blind, laborious spirit to compose a meager image of the mighty whole. The calm and luminous intimacy within approves her work and guides the unseen power. His vast design accepts a puny start in a attempt, a drawing half done in the world's life. Its lines doubt their concealed significance. Its curves join not their high intended close. Yet some first image of greatness trembles there, and when the ambiguous crowded parts have met, the many-toned unity to which they moved, the artist's joy shall laugh at reason's rules. The divine intention suddenly shall be seen. The end vindicate intuition's sure technique. A graph shall be of many meeting worlds, a cube and a union crystal of the gods. A mind shall think behind nature's mindless mask. A conscious vast fill the old dumb brute space. This faint and fluid sketch of a soul called man shall stand out on the background of long time, a glowing epitome of eternity. A little point reveals the infinitudes, a mystery's process is the universe. At first was laid a strange anomalous base, a void, a cipher of some secret whole, where zero held infinity in its sum, and all and nothing were a single term. Page 101. my life path number 11. Yes, victory to the divine light. We're all one. An eternal negative matrix not. Into its forms the child is ever born, who lives forever in the vast of God. A slow reversals movement then took place, a gas belched out from some invisible fire. Of its dense rings were formed these million stars. Upon Earth's newborn soil, God's tread was heard. Across the thick smoke of Earth's ignorance, and mind began to see and look at forms, and groped for knowledge in the nescient night. Caught in a blind stone grip, force worked its plan, and made in sleep this huge mechanical world, that matter might grow conscious of its soul, and like a busy midwife, the life power deliver the zero carrier of the all. Because eternal eyes turned on earth's gulfs, the lucent clarity of a pure regard, and saw a shadow of the unknowable mirrored in the unconscious, boundless sleep, creation's search for self began its stir. A spirit dreamed in the crude cosmic whirl. Mind flowed unknowing in the sap of life, and matter's breast suckled the divine idea. A miracle of the absolute was born. Infinity put on a finite soul. All ocean lived with a wandering drop. A time-made body housed the illimitable. To live this mystery out, our souls came here. Aho. I added that last part. A seer within who knows the ordered plan, concealed behind our momentary steps, inspires our ascents to viewless heights. As once the abysmal leap to earth and life, his call had reached the traveler in time. Apart in an unfathomed loneliness, he traveled in his mute and single strength, bearing the burden of the world's desire. A formless stillness called a nameless light. Above him was the white immobile ray. Holy God. Yes, the still white magnetic light. Wow. Hermano Gustavo D. I know you feel me on this one, bro. Woo! Healing, victory, healing, love and light. We're all one. And I will continue on. Page 102. Bearing the burden of the world's desire, a formless stillness called a nameless light. Above him was the white immobile ray. Around him the eternal silences. No term was fixed to the high-pitched attempt. Wow. World after world disclosed its guarded powers. Heaven after heaven its deep beatitudes. But still the invisible magnet drew his soul. A figure soul on nature's giant star. Or on a figure soul on nature's giant stair. He mounted towards an indiscernible end on the bare summit of created things. Period. End Canto 1. Next up is Canto 2. The Kingdom of Subtle Matter. Man, my reading was so good it put the puppy dogs to sleep. Sweet angels. Thank you for joining me. Sending everyone emerald green and golden diamond light healing energy straight from source through self to Mother Gaia, back up the back through self, radiating and staying in heart, living in crown and throat and third eye and all the rest chakras, and going back to source and coming back down in a circular figure 8 motion continuously. Love and light. All one. Todos somos uno. Oh, look who woke up. Muy bien. Victory to the divine light. We are all one. Every last one of us. Love you all. Love always wins. Is that right, Rocco?